Oh, oh God. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Gabesty here. This is the normal healer guide for Immerseus. This will focus mostly on healer aspects of the encounter, tips and tricks, but if you want other perspectives, you can click on the annotations. So let's get started. So the first thing to watch for as a healer is the ability Sha Splash. This is cast during the normal phase of this encounter by Immerseus, and it hits everyone in the raid, and basically it will do a little bit of shadow damage as well as spawn a splash puddle underneath those players. So you can see the puddles are kind of gray. They're actually going into the boss right now. So the room actually clears itself out, but while those puddles are active, anyone that stands in them will take about 75,000 damage per second. So if you're noticing a fair bit of spike damage as well as indicators on your grid or whatnot that splash is hit, that could be a bit of spike damage to be aware of. Another ability that increases spike damage a lot is Corrosive Blast. And this is the primary mechanic for your tanks that they're worried about. Basically, this does 600,000 shadow damage to the current tank, as well as increasing the damage they take from shadow by 300%. So this will be what dictates your tank swaps. But for the most part, when this is about to be cast, you want to make sure the tank is topped off at the time so that that damage does not bring them too low. Another thing to be careful of for a healer is Swirl, which you can see the boss casting right there. Usually does this about once per normal phase, and he will spin around and try to shoot water at random or at players in front of him. So you just need to sidestep it to avoid that effect. If you get hit, however, you'll take some damage, but more importantly, you'll be knocked far away. And as a healer, obviously, this is very bad because you'll quickly be out of range. So make sure you sidestep that appropriately, have the rest of your raid do so as well, and generally stay somewhat close to the boss during this period so that you can keep within heal range of everyone. So positioning for you relative to the raid is very important as well. Because the room is so large and you can't go in the center where Immerseus is actually swirling around, you need to make sure you have assignments appropriate for healing just the people near you. So you can kind of see we have raid markers around the room. Basically, we split up the raid into 5 quadrants. So we have the very back quadrant, which is opposite the entrance area. We have a purple marker there on the right. And then from that, going out either side, the next quadrant area, we have markers, and then the next one from there as well. So the tanks hang out in the center purple area. Then healers hang out to the either side of them. So we're using 2 healers here, so we have 1 on either side. This way, the healers are always in range of the tank at the time. And then to either side of those healers, on the opposite side of the tanks, will be some DPS as well. So if you just split up kind of roughly equal, you'll have your 2 tanks in the center, 1 or 2 healers on either side, depending on how you split, and then about 2 to 3 DPS as well on the side with the healer. And that will allow you to heal at least half the raid at any given moment. So as a healer, the main mechanic to focus on to actually progress the fight is healing the contaminated puddles that spawn. Now, these emerge when Immerseus submerges, and they'll spawn around the outside of the room in random locations. So you can kind of watch when he submerges where they're flying toward and kind of get in position preemptively. So here you can see he's submerging now, and I can kind of see them flying in. They're the lighter colored puddles there. So as soon as they spawn, you can target them and start healing them up. And they only have about 300,000 health. And the more that you heal them, so the higher their health gets, the slower they actually move toward the boss. So the goal is to heal as many of them to full as possible before they reach the center and resorb back into Immerseus. For each one that you heal to full, it will reduce his corruption stack by 1. And this obviously helps you finish the fight. Now, if you are standing within 10 yards of a corrupted puddle when you heal it to full, it will give you a stacking debuff. This increases your healing done by 75%, as well as regens 25% of your mana over the duration. So basically, as long as you get one puddle every phase, you can get a huge amount of mana return. For this reason, your basic goal should be to burst heal the first puddle that you are near as quickly as possible. Make sure you're within 10 yards of it to get the stacking healing buff, and then you should be able to heal the other puddles around you that much faster. But overall, healing will be less important to dealing with the puddles than the damage will, because as the puddles reach the center, they deal about 30,000 damage for each healer puddle that you didn't get healed, whereas the TPS ones do about 75,000 damage if they do not get destroyed. But the other thing you can do as a healer is to use massive cooldowns, because the puddles are friendly and they will be affected by area of effect heals. So as a Mistweaver Monk, for example, I was able to get the first buff from healing the first puddle on one of the phases, use my Intellect Potion cooldown as well, and then pop my Revival ability. And because Revival heals every friendly person near me, it basically healed all the puddles around me instantly. And it's really effective. So any of those major cooldowns, Revival, Trank, stuff like that, should be able to be very useful on healing these puddles as well. So that was kind of a lot to talk about the puddles, but that's really important. And once these come to the center, as I said, they explode. So during this period, there will be a heavy amount of raid damage. You can see the explosion graphics going on there. So this is a good time to use your raid cooldowns for damage reduction, as well as just your normal minor healing cooldowns. Make sure the raid is well covered and able to deal with that damage appropriately. And then once the phase ends, you're back into the normal phase. You can sort of recover everyone's health a bit here, and then just keep dodging the puddles until he submerges once again, and the process repeats. So that really covers everything for the healer aspect of Immerseus. Good luck, and thanks for watching.